The road back home. Liam hadn't been home in 10 years. It wasn't like he'd planned to stay away forever. At first, it was just a year. A break from the weight of his last name, from the sideways glances, from the whispers that always seemed to follow him down the street. But then a year turned into 2, and 2 turned into 5. And after a while, it just felt easier to pretend that home didn't exist anymore. But then his mother got sick. The call had come on a Tuesday morning, the kind of call that shifts the ground beneath your feet. She hadn't asked him to come back. She never would. Instead, she'd just said, "I wanted you to hear it from me." And that was enough. Now, as he pulled onto the old gravel driveway, the house looked smaller than he remembered. The white paint on the porch railing was peeling, the flower beds overgrown. He sat in the car for a long moment, gripping the steering wheel, as if somehow the cracked leather beneath his fingers could anchor him to something steady. Then, before he could talk himself out of it, he got out. His mother was waiting at the door. "You look tired," she said softly, her smile barely reaching her eyes. "You look small," he said, and it hurt, because it was true. Inside, the house smelled the same, like coffee and cinnamon, and something warm he couldn't quite name. He followed her to the kitchen, where a pot of tea sat untouched on the counter. "How long are you staying?" she asked, too casual, like she was afraid of the answer. He swallowed. "I don't know." She nodded, like she'd expected that. "Well, your room's still there." His room. He hadn't let himself think about it. The last time he'd been in there, he was 18 and furious, stuffing clothes into a duffel bag, shouting things he could barely remember now. His father had been yelling too, his voice a sharp contrast to his mother's quiet tears. It had been about the fight. It was always about the fight. Even after all these years, the details were sharp. He and Noah had been best friends since they were kids, inseparable until the night it all fell apart. One stupid argument. One punch. One siren wailing through the dark. And just like that, everything changed. He and Noah never spoke again. His father never looked at him the same. And Liam decided that if the town saw him as a lost cause, he might as well play the part. He climbed the stairs slowly, pausing in front of his old door before pushing it open. Everything was the same. The bed, the desk, the posters curling at the edges. It was like stepping into a time capsule of the boy he used to be. He ran a hand over the wooden dresser, fingers catching on a deep scratch near the edge, a scar from the night he threw a glass across the room. He was always breaking things back then. A sudden knock on the door frame made him turn. His mother stood there, a small smile on her lips. "There's something I want you to do for me." He tensed, already knowing. "Mom, I saw Noah the other day," she interrupted. "He's got a little shop now right by the bookstore." Liam exhaled slowly. "I don't know if he wants to see me." She just looked at him, the way only a mother can. Maybe. But maybe he does. The shop was different than he expected. It was small, tucked between a bakery and a thrift store, the kind of place you could walk past 100 times without really noticing. But as soon as he stepped inside, Liam felt something shift. Noah was behind the counter, scanning a receipt, his dark hair a little shorter, his shoulders a little broader. For a second, Liam considered turning around, walking back out like he'd never been there. Then Noah looked up. He froze. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Noah leaned against the counter, crossing his arms. "Didn't think I'd see you again." Liam swallowed. "Yeah, me neither." A beat of silence stretched between them. Then, "You still throw a mean punch?" Liam let out a breath of something that might have been a laugh. "Not really." "Good," Noah said. "Because you sucked at it." And just like that, something cracked open between them. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something, a start. Liam thought about the years he'd spent running, the weight of his past pressing heavy on his shoulders. He had always believed that coming back meant facing the worst parts of himself, the parts he wanted to forget. But maybe, just maybe, it also meant something else. A chance to put the pieces back together. A chance to start again. And this time, he wouldn't run.